You're watching TSN. To stay up to date with the most important news, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications. Now I'll continue with the news broadcast. Kinjal missiles and Shaheeds. Last night, the Russians attacked Ukraine with strike drones and aeroballistic missiles. Sumy, Kharkiv, Kyiv, Dnipropetrovsk, Khmelnytsky, Odessa, and Mykolaiv regions came under attack. More details in the next TSN broadcasts. Dnipropetrovsk region is under attack by the occupiers. An elderly woman was injured in the Nikopol district. She suffered shrapnel wounds. To provide her with assistance, rescuers together with medics freed the victim from the destroyed house. 5 private homes and a gas station were also damaged. The enemy also shelled Sinelnikove district. The Russians bombarded the Pokrovsk community with guided aerial bombs. They destroyed an educational institution. 8 people were wounded in the Kherson region. Most of the victims are in the regional center. The Russians shelled Kherson with artillery and drones. A resident of Stanislav was also hit by an enemy drone strike. She was hospitalized with blast injuries. A municipal utility worker in Kherson sought medical assistance. The day before, a Russian drone dropped an explosive device on him. Large-scale fires were caused by a massive drone attack in the Sumy region. In the Romny community, warehouses and vehicles caught fire. The blast wave damaged apartment buildings and private homes. Due to the threat of repeated strikes, rescuers were forced to suspend their work and take shelter. The fire has now been extinguished and no people were injured. The enemy's advance in the Pokrovsk direction is slowing down. This was reported by the Institute for the Study of War. Their analysts add that the occupiers are not trying to consolidate their positions, but continue their assaults. At the same time, Ukrainian forces have managed to partially restore logistics north of Pokrovsk. The decrease in the intensity of Russian attacks was confirmed in a phone conversation with my colleague Alla Mazur by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine the day before. Alexander Syrsky explained that this does not mean the occupiers are any less determined to capture Pokrovsk. Right now, the Russians have gathered 50,000 soldiers there, but they know that since October, our forces have eliminated 30,000 occupiers. Syrsky says that the situation near Pokrovsk is assessed 3 times a day. According to him, the logistical routes have been restored and reoriented. The weather has helped. And at the moment, we have all the forces and resources to confidently say there is no reason for panic, the Commander-in-Chief emphasized. The U.S. Senate has finally approved the bill that will allow the shutdown to end and government program funding to be restored. Because of the shutdown, the supply of weapons from the United States to Ukraine was particularly at risk. American lawmakers were unable to approve the budget or agree on temporary funding. This led to a government shutdown. As a result, according to Axios, there was a delay in the delivery of weapons worth $5 billion. Moreover, this affected both government-to-government arms sales and the licensing of private defense companies for arms exports. And just last night, Democrats and Republicans in the Senate reached an agreement on temporary funding until the end of January. Now the document must be approved by the House of Representatives and signed by Donald Trump. The president in the dark. A video is spreading on social media showing the lights going out right in the middle of Zelensky's interview with The Guardian. The Mariinsky Palace was plunged into darkness. Prolonged power outages are also expected today, according to energy experts. This is the result of massive Russian attacks on energy infrastructure. Ukrenergo has warned that today in most regions of Ukraine, both industrial and residential consumers will experience power outages. There may be hourly outages affecting 2 to 4 groups at the same time. You have stabilization outages while they have constant torture. This is one of the slogans of the rally in support of prisoners. Traditionally, these events take place in Ukrainian cities on weekends. Up to 400 people gathered in the city center of the capital the day before. Mostly, the participants in these rallies are the relatives, loved ones, and friends of prisoners or fallen soldiers. Their goal is to ensure that society does not forget about those Ukrainians whom Russia is holding in its prisons, and thanks to whom in particular everyone else can live an almost normal life. The participants of the rally urge everyone who cares to join them with slogans on cardboard signs and to remember the prisoners.
There are still many guys in captivity and many bodies that we have not yet received. That's why if we are here in the rear and the guys are standing there for us, giving their lives, we cannot remain indifferent.
It's worth coming here to truly support the families of the prisoners of war. Secondly, it's so that we don't forget, that we remember, and that we spread the word about the fact that our people are still in enemy captivity and are enduring extremely inhumane conditions.
A safari on people. Angelina Jolie described on social media how Russian occupiers hunt Ukrainians with drones. The day before, the movie star published an emotional post on Instagram about her visit to Kherson and Mykolaiv. There was a moment when we had to stop and wait for a drone to fly over our heads. I was in protective gear, and for me, it lasted only a few days. And these families live with this every day, the actress wrote in her post. A photo of the movie star waiting out a drone attack under a protective net has spread across global media. These nets cover the roads in the frontline regions. UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador Angelina Jolie has visited Ukraine for the second time since the start of the full-scale war. This time, she came unofficially with an international charity foundation that has already provided aid to 10,000 Ukrainians. The actress visited Mykolaiv and Kherson, went to an underground school and a hospital, and spoke with locals, medical staff, and volunteers. Thank you. Who bravely endure constant shelling. In her Instagram post, Jolie talked about her meetings, the immense psychological burden Ukrainians are experiencing, and their deep fear of being forgotten by the world. You are watching TSN. To stay up to date with the main news, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications. And now I continue with the news. Almost half a year of round-the-clock struggle. 2 infantrymen from the 115th Brigade spent 165 days at their positions. And all this time, the soldiers were under constant shelling without proper sleep. They repelled enemy assaults, drone and armored vehicle attacks, and even survived gas shell attacks. Ahead of them are treatment and a long-awaited leave.
A tired look, dirty uniform, and an unkempt beard. The photo was taken right after leaving the position, and it's hard to recognize Mr. Alexander in it. He spent 165 days on the front line with his comrade.
The first and second weeks are hard, and then everything just blends into one day. And that day just stretched out to 165.
Now the soldier is undergoing treatment and rehabilitation, and he says he has been at war since August 2024. He says that's when he started going to the front line. At first, rotations were held every week, but then it became difficult to leave the position. Sometimes it was simply impossible.
The overwhelming presence of drones, shelling, and the inability to get out.
While he and his comrade were holding the front line, he jokes that they received their vision and necessary medicines by mail from the armed forces of Ukraine via drones.
Usually the packages contained medicine. They're always sending something, either to prevent constipation or supportive vitamins. Plus, we're stocked up ourselves, carrying supplies, depending on what chronic illnesses there are.
Getting the package delivered isn't the biggest problem, but picking it up, he says, is a task you could pay for with your life.
In 10 or 15 minutes, a drone comes and drops something, and then the package is gone or the position is gone. Sometimes you have to choose, either stay alive or get something to eat. There were times when we chose to stay alive and only ate properly later at home.
Usually, he says, there was enough food. We had the bare essentials, but sometimes we asked our comrades to bring us something tasty.
We wanted either Coca-Cola or Pepsi, and they would bring it. There was Pepsi, a piece of meat, some salad and onion, garlic, some sausage, maybe a can of something.
6 months without mobile phones. Messages home were relayed through comrades over the radio. Alexander recalls how, after leaving the positions, he called his wife for the first time.
She just cried. But then, thank God, she said it worked out.
He says it's tough on the front line, mostly physically. Every day, small groups of Russians try to sneak behind our lines.
It was morning, there was fog. We were given the task to check out the dugouts nearby. And together, almost for the very first time while we were bathing, we saw someone just sitting there right in that spot. So after noticing him, we decided to leave him there for a while. We fired a bit over in that direction, threw a grenade over there as well, and then finally finished the job with a drone. It was a coordinated effort, and everything happened step by step, making sure we completed the task thoroughly and carefully.
The last battle before leaving, the men fought on October 20th. During a mechanized assault by the Russians, they killed 3 invaders who broke into their trenches. They warned the drone operators about the landing of Russian troops nearby.
There were burrows located very close to us, literally about 15 meters away, and they quickly jumped in and hid themselves in those burrows. Thanks to FPV drones and skids, they're not there anymore. At night, you can hear the radio go off. Someone coughs.
During those battles, Alexander Lixienko's comrade was wounded in the arm.
2 large fragments like that. I don't remember how many small ones there were, but they couldn't be removed with a magnet. I think they're still in there because they don't want to cut open the arm.
He himself in person?
Walked, or did he need support? Thank God he managed on his own. I wouldn't have even been able to carry him. We were pretty exhausted, having spent so much time there.
More than 30 times they tried to evacuate the men from the position, but because of the overwhelming number of enemy drones, it was impossible. That's why, the hero says, they waited for the right weather when Russian FPV drones wouldn't be able to fly. They walked 12 kilometers on foot to the evacuation point. Now the men are at home. Ahead of them is a long-awaited vacation. Daria Nazarova, Andriy Kupovka, Zaporizhzhia, TSN 1+1.
In Lviv, at the Unbroken Center, patients are rehabilitated using virtual reality technology. Special goggles are used for people with traumatic brain injuries and mine explosion injuries. In virtual locations, they train fine motor skills, attention, and coordination. They can go shopping or go fishing, or do breathing exercises. To demonstrate how technology motivates recovery, the center invited Alexander Dashko, a veteran of the Kraken Special Unit. He has a prosthetic leg, and this year, together with his team, he climbed to Everest Base Camp. The Van Broken soldiers were able to view his route through virtual reality glasses. During the expedition, they also managed to raise 1 million hryvnias. The money was donated for the treatment of the center's patients.
This is my first time. I've always wanted to try VR glasses. You know, in your head that you're sitting in the hole, there are lots of people around you, but you look around at the mountains and it's interesting, it's cool.
We walked for 7 days. It was very, very hard, but to say that it was... saying it was worth it is an understatement. For me, it was very historic. It was wow. I've tried it. It's actually a really cool kind of therapy. You're sitting in a room physically, but in your mind, you're somewhere in the mountains or on a beach. And it really distracts you, calms you down, maybe even motivates you. Like, I see it, I want to go there. I'll do it. And to do that, I need to take some action. And you start doing something instead of just sitting at home complaining or whatever.
Precious and with a history too. Christie's auction is preparing to sell a colored diamond. It weighs almost 10 carats. The stone is a vivid blue color, set in a ring adorned with small diamonds. This jewel belonged to Rachel Mellon, a renowned American philanthropist and landscape designer. This is the stone's first sale. They hope to fetch at least $20 million for it. Rescuers and meteorologists are urging drivers to be cautious. Today, dense fog is forecast across Ukraine. The yellow level warning has been issued. Visibility will not exceed 500 meters. The forecast also includes rain, drizzle, and unusually warm weather for November. In some places, temperatures will reach 17 to 18 degrees above zero. At this moment, that was the last update. Don't miss our next TCH broadcast to stay informed about current events.